Well, yesterday we did some long division of polynomials, and so we should be pretty good at this. Now, I'm going to put the whole kind of idea together. This is one big problem, okay? I'm not just going to do long division just to do long division and look at the remainder now. I'm doing long division to show that that's actually a factor, and so we can break this down from an x to the fourth to an x to the third by removing one factor. Dividing by x would lower this to x to the third, that kind of an idea. Ready? So I'm telling you that's a factor and I want you to divide it. So here we go, x minus 1. I'm going to go a little faster than I did yesterday, so pause it at the end if you have to. I've got x to the fourth minus 3x to the third plus x squared plus 3x minus 2. The first thing I'm supposed to do is to see what I have to multiply x times to turn it to x to the fourth. It's x to the third. So I go to the side and I go x to the third times x minus 1, and I get x to the fourth minus x to the third. That's what I have to write down here, x to the fourth minus x to the third. Don't write big, by the way, you're going to run out of room for this one. This takes several steps. Okay, I subtract polynomials by changing to addition and switching the signs. When I do that, these cancel, and negative 3x to the third plus x to the third is negative 2x to the third. It's plus x squared plus 3x and minus 2. I always want to write out that entire thing because if this ends up skipping one or two terms, I need to know what it combines with. So I actually need to know all the options. That's why I have to write the whole thing down. Okay, to get that x minus 1 to be that negative 2x to the third, I'm going to multiply it by negative 2x squared. So I go over here and I go negative 2x squared times x minus 1. And I'm going to get negative 2x to the third plus 2x squared. I'm going to write that down here, negative 2x to the third plus 2x squared. Put it in parentheses and subtract it. When you subtract, you change to addition, you change that to a plus, and change that to a minus. These cancel, and x squared minus 2x squared is negative x squared plus 3x minus 2. Okay, so moving on, I gotta see, what do I multiply x to become negative x squared? It's gonna be negative x. And so I'm gonna go over here and go negative x times x minus 1, and I get negative x squared plus x. So I come over here and I write negative x squared plus x. Now I put parentheses around that and I subtract it. When I do, I change that to plus, I change the sign of every term and I combine them. Those cancel and I get 2x minus 2. I'm going to run into my line here. So to get x to be 2x minus 2, I multiply by a 2, so I put plus 2 right here. I go over here and I go 2 times x minus 1 is equal to 2x minus 2. And when I write 2x minus 2, hopefully you guys can all see that I get a remainder of 0. That means x minus 1 is a factor of x to the fourth minus 3x to the third plus x squared plus 3x minus 2. So I can write this as, I'm going to write it underneath because I took up too much space, x minus 1 times my quotient, x to the third minus 2x squared minus x plus 2. I could write the plus 0, but I don't need to, right? Plus 0 is something you don't need to write. That quotient times that divisor gives me the polynomial. Okay? So I broke it down by dividing out a factor, and look, the degree is 1 less. Well, now I'm going to divide the quotient. I'm not going to go back to the original. I'm going to divide this x to the third thing here by x minus 2. So I'm going to write x minus 2, and I'm dividing that into x to the third minus 2x squared minus x plus 2. Okay, dividing that by x minus 2. Here we go. Doing it all over again. To get x to be an x to the third, I got to multiply by x squared. I go over to the side and I write x squared times x minus 2. That gives me x to the third minus 2x squared. Okay, so I go write x to the third minus 2x squared, and I subtract these. Now you can see what's about to happen. When I subtract, I change to plus, and I change the sign of all of these terms. Those cancel. So do those, and I get negative x plus 2. Love when that happens. Saves me a step. To get this x to be negative x, I multiply by a negative 1. So I just put minus 1. I go over here and I go minus 1 times x minus 2 is equal to negative x plus 2. And so I put negative x plus 2 and I subtract it. That turns to plus, that turns to minus, these both cancel, and I get another 0. So that means my original x to the fourth can be written as this x minus 1 that I used a little bit ago, but now I just turned this into two things. I turned this into x minus 2 times x squared minus 1, right? So I can write it as x minus 2 and x squared minus 1. Okay, go on to the next page.